Speaking of money, let's talk about Prince Harry briefly. It's cost him some money today in the court. I always like to hear Prince Harry having to pay out to newspapers
This
£48,000.
is actually not the worst part of his day either, because Bob Seeley, the MP for Isle of Wight, laid down his bill today.
Oh, did he?
That meant that, his bill was taken to Parliament. I don't know the date that it's being debated, where Parliament could have the opportunity to strip royals of their titles to avoid situations like this, where it's just taking over the whole narrative for years on end. It won't end, and we're kind of imprisoning each other at that point.
Well, I mean, he's got so many court cases going on against the government now, doesn't he? I mean, at one point, I think earlier this year, he had 6 different cases going on in the High Court on the same day. And this is one he's got going on against Associated Newspapers, Daily Publishers and Daily Mail. It's a libel case, which I think he's lost, basically. But it's not the end of the case, because there's other bits of it that carry on. But he must be spending a fortune on lawyers as well. What's wrong with him?
Well, he'll have to sell some more secrets about his own family, won't he, to pay for it all.
I don't think he's got any left, has he? I mean, give him to Omid Scobie and he can just print any old rubbish and then rewrite it and go, oh, sorry, this is the second version, which hasn't got the lies in.
I wish my sister's secrets were worth that much money.
Well, I mean, you know, listen, we've all got secrets I'm sure we could sell, but I'm not sure how much we get for them. Let's talk about a boat that was pictured. This is the West Ham supporters' boat, I think. I don't know if we've got some footage of that, have we? Which did not go terribly well. The ship hits the fans, is what it says here. This is some of these party boats, I think. They're going from point A to point B, and they managed to crash it into the bridge, which is not the greatest idea you've ever seen. Trying to turn a thing like that around. There you go. There's nothing worse than being on a boat when the person driving it doesn't know what they're doing.
Do you know what they need? They need like a sea monster to rise like Godzilla from the depths and just lift them over the bridge, don't they, Mike?
Well,
might be one.
I don't sense that you're taking that story entirely seriously. You know.
Maybe I'm not taking this story that seriously either.
Well, let's talk about the COVID inquiry then, because I know you want to. Rishi Sunak was there today. He's the first person so far that's appeared to say that actually we're sorry not just to the people who had lost loved ones due to COVID, but actually we're going to say sorry to the people who were injured or damaged in some way by the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's 3 things that have gone quite well for Rishi Sunak today. First of all, like I say, he's the first official to apologise for people suffering from the effects of lockdown, not just the people that died from COVID. And of course, this is an area that the inquiry is totally neglecting to cover at all. The harms of lockdown, the cost-benefit of lockdown, whether lockdown hurt people and didn't work.
Yes.
So, you know, he's just touched on that. That's one thing. Secondly, it turns out that he didn't commit too much into WhatsApp, which is correct, ministerial. You know, he's to be commended for, first of all, not being so...
And Isabel Oakeshott actually confirmed that most of the WhatsApps that she'd found that he'd written weren't very interesting. So, in fact, he's not one of those that's going around insulting people.
That's interesting.
You know, that he's actually... She said she actually went along with what he said, because the ones that she's seen were pretty bland.
And, of course, it's not how ministerial business should be done, as well as, you know, it's just silly to commit all these pejoratives and you know, cackling at people in budget hotels into WhatsApp like they did. But the third thing is, you know, he's been slated a lot for Eat Out to Help Out. And I just have to say that I'm just reaching boiling point with this KC now. He just keeps asking the wrong questions. Why are we still talking about whether Eat Out to Help Out was a bad idea? Because you just need to look at infections and deaths. Nothing happened. It didn't do any harm at all. It was actually quite a sensible policy to encourage people back into the high street and into the world. It had no real world...
And it's a very tiny, tiny part of the things that happened over that 2-year period, right?
No real world costs at all. And, you know, on this KC, there's still...
He's very smug, isn't he?
He's very smug. He's been giving a very, very soft line of questioning to a lot of the experts, and he's just not interrogating things properly, because he's coming from such a place of presumption. You know, they're talking about the hospitalisation data, and he still hasn't got to the bottom of something that some of us knew in 2021, which is that hospitalisation data included people that went to hospital with COVID, people that caught COVID in hospital because they're like mini cities of infection.
People are still doing that, by the way.
Of course, and people that would have had erroneous false positives. You know, it was a big number. It included a lot of different people. He hasn't worked out some of the very basics of this kind of data analysis.